Morning, everybody. David Shapiro here. We've got a new video. So, if you kept up with my work, you know that one of my primary purpose is to research and produce artificial cognition, or an artificial cognitive entity. I prefer this term over AGI because artificial general intelligence is just three adjectives. It's not an actual thing, whereas an artificial cognitive entity is a thing. It's describing the actual result. So I want to create something that thinks. Now, in order to have something that thinks, you need input. You need a world in which to act. Well, ideally, you can have cogitation in a vacuum, and I've done plenty of experiments with that. But I also recently published a video about my nexus, which is the kind of the brain, the central brain, or the memory of an artificial cognitive entity. So the next step is to produce the input. Now, because this is testing, I need a simulated environment. And since it thinks in natural language, I don't need actual video and audio. I can run the simulation in video. And so that's what I'm working on today. So let me show you what I've done. So first, I started with a world state. So in this case, the world state is two men are sitting in a stone at a stone chess table. Stone chess table. I actually stopped stuttering. If you watch some of my original videos, I had a stutter sometimes. I wonder if I was just nervous. It comes back every now and then. Anyways, they're playing chess. The sun is shining, etc., etc. So then I fed that into a prompt where it says this is a text-based simulation. Given the following world state, imagine a likely or random event. Describe the event in 1 or 2 sentences. And so then it spits out an event, and then we take that state and event and plop it into this prompt, which says generate a new world state or measure the impact that it has on the world state. And then finally, I take all three of those and say summarize this into a new world state. I might have to remove detailed because the summaries kept getting longer and longer as more stuff happened, whereas we can actually exclude information as we move forward. Now, all of this can be fine-tuned, which I'll probably do once I generate some synthetic data and clean it up. But the idea here is that you have state, event, and change. So the state is like describe, take a picture, describe it. The event or action is what happens in the world. And so in this case, I need to be able to integrate that event or action because in the simulation environment, my ACOG is going to have to be able to act. It's going to have to be able to say something or do something so that we can test it in isolation. And yes, I'm actually talking about testing an artificial general intelligence in a text-based simulation. That's what's happening. This is where we're at. And then, so you have current state, then you have an event or action, then you have the impact that has on the world. Like if I throw my mug, like current world state, mug is whole, I'm in my office. I throw my mug, that's an event. And then the event or action is mug is tossed, it breaks on the floor, and now there's, pieces on the floor. So the new world state is the mug is broken and the pieces are on the floor. But the rest of it is also still true. So that is the goal here. So there's basically 3 phases: state, event, change, and then it recycles: state, event, change. So it's just those 3 steps over and over again. So I wrote a really quick little script to do this. So first, it's just an infinite loop. It says while true, load the last world state. Oh, I need to show you. I saved the world states here. And then also every GPT-3 interaction is logged here. This is all open source. You're welcome to use this. You can use it for games. You can use it for simulation. You can use it to test chatbots. You can use it to test digital robots, whatever you want to do. There's more. So ultimately, this is going to be encapsulated into a microservice. So the microservice is going to have to communicate with the ACOG nexus. So it'll basically take the place of the eyes and ears of my ACOG experiment. So it'll have to keep track of its own world state, and then the summaries that it produces are going to be the natural language. This is what's going on in the outside world, react to it. And so, you can imagine any kind of world state. You can say the world state is, the world plunges into chaos because of zombies, right? And GPT-3 is really good at writing fiction. And then another advantage is that you have a log of all these world states that you can extract information from. But this will also end up in the nexus of the ACOG. So it'll actually remember everything that it has seen and heard, right? So we're simulating senses and we're simulating a world state. Yeah, okay, sorry, I was going over the script. So file equals OS lister. Let me zoom in a little bit more. So it just loads the last world state. That's what it does right here. Then it generates an event. So that's the first prompt, generate an event. And then it'll print it out, and then it'll take that and generate the new state. And really, it's not a new state. It's measuring the change, like what impact has this had, and then it'll do the summary. And so that's all it does and then it prints it all out to the console and then saves it. That's it. So let me show you. So I already ran it once. So I started with the original. Whoops. I started with the original world state here, where it's just two guys are playing chess. This is hilarious. Two guys are playing chess. One of the men loses his chess piece, becomes frustrated, and knocks over the chessboard. So he, rage quits. State change. The two men are still sitting at the stone table. One of the men has knocked over the chessboard in frustration. The sun is still shining, and the birds are still singing, etc., etc. So the new world state. The two men are sitting at a stone chess table. They're playing chess. So you see where it's like they're actually not playing chess anymore. So I do need to do a little bit of testing. But here it says, one becomes frustrated, knocks over. The other man remains calm. So it made that inference. One of them, it actually looks like it's repeating itself. So I will probably change the summary. So instead of detailed summary, we'll say concise summary. Since every previous world state is saved, we don't need to have the whole thing. So we'll just do concise summary. So that'll keep it from ballooning, because you'll see what happens as we go. So event. So this is the new event, right? So this is the new world state. So it says the two men get into a heated argument and start to yell at each other. That's a likely next step. If you're having a game of chess and someone rage quits, you might get upset. So the state change. The two men are still sitting at the stone table, but they are no longer playing chess. See, it has updated the world state. And as you're reading this, you can follow along. Now, another thing that can happen is that you could also use this for planning video games. You could use this to write fiction. It's just a matter of, does it have enough information, background information, to keep things going? If you summarize the world state fully enough, or have a way of recall, which we'll talk about recall at another video. So anyways, one of the men has knocked over the chessboard, etc., etc. So they're doing this. Here's the new state. It's getting longer and longer. Event. The two men continue to argue and start to physically fight. So you see here the event is much longer, but it's also very, very repetitive. So we need to maybe do some prompt engineering on the event, because the event is supposed to be 1 or 2 sentences total. So let's take a look at the event prompt. This is a text-based simulation giving the following world state. Imagine a likely or random event. Describe the event in 1 or 2 sentences. Okay, that should work. Okay, whatever. One thing, when you have prompt chaining like this, or prompt stacking, you can get really interesting effects, compounding effects. So I'm only going to change one thing at a time. I changed it from detailed summary to concise summary. That might be enough to prevent it from snowballing, because you see that's what's happening here. Is it's snowballing? Everything is getting longer and longer and longer. Now, so this is a hilarious state change. The two men are still fighting. The man who was losing the fight is now lying on the ground unconscious. The sun is still shining and the birds are still singing, etc., etc. Okay, so let's take a look at what the last world state was. Okay, so there we go. The two men are now arguing with each other and yelling. So let's go ahead and we made one change. So let's do a clear screen and let's let the simulation run. It's going slow right now. I'm not sure if it's something I've done in my code or if GPT-3 is just running slow right now. Event. The two men continue to argue and eventually get into a physical altercation. They start to push and shove each other, etc., etc. All right, the state change. The two men are still sitting at the stone chess table. They're no longer playing chess and are now fighting. They're both bleeding and their clothes are ripped. That's fun. It's interesting. It still says they're sitting at a stone chess table, but they're not. The two men are arrested by the police. Two men are sitting in a jail cell. They're both bleeding and their clothes are ripped. Let's see. Have black eyes and bruises. are taken to the hospital for their injuries. Nice. They're going to jail. Let's see. It looks like it's a little bit kind of stuck on repeat. So the concise thing might have. Oh, the two men are released from jail after posting bail. Oh, that's great. The story advances. um, let's see. They posted bail again. Fined and ordered to stay away from each other. There we go. Okay, so it looks like the concise summary is confusing and it's getting stuck on repeat. Oh, they filed a restraining order. The plot advances again. This is great. Okay, so the event is fine. It seems like the concise summary is removing too much information. So what happens if we just do summary? So detailed summary is like long summary, and concise summary is short summary. So what if we just do like summary? All right. And so also remember, it picks up where it left off. So the last world state, the men are arrested for disorderly conduct after getting into a fist fight. They have black eyes. The men are released from jail. They're both fined and ordered to stay away from each other. So that's where the story left off. So let's continue the story. Okay, we already know that. It seems like we lost too much information. They get into another fist fight. Okay. And now it looks like it's being very repetitive. Okay. I think I think the problem I think I created more problems than I solved when I removed the Um detailed summary because when you lose that context, that's I think that's what's making it get stuck on repeat. Um but we need it to be less repetitive. Um and we need each phase to be less repetitive. Um I wonder if uh, we can just say like rewrite, like have another prompt that says that is just kind of a generic like rewrite the following to be less repetitive, if there are any repetitions. Let me try that real quick. Let me go back. Da, 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 da. See what's the longest one. Here we go. All right, so then we'll go to playground. What is that? Let's see. Rewrite the following passage to remove repetitiveness. Is that how you spell that? Um, passage. Um, remove repetition. Um, remove repetitiveness. Whoops. If present. Yeah, because it says like children are still running and playing in the distance. Yeah, it didn't actually remove repetition. Let's see. Wonder if what if I just say remove repetitiveness or remove repetition if present. And we're on temperature 0.7, so it's allowed to be creative. Yeah. Okay. I need to do a little bit more. Let me do a time check. We're at 14 minutes. Okay. I'm trying to keep it to 30 minutes. Um, yeah, so this is a good example of like we need to summarize this as like the new world state, right? Um, I wonder if we can. Ooh, I got an idea. I got an idea. So the event, that's fine. The state change. So let's change this from new state to change. Let's see. So we'll say it's state change. Um, Given the following world state and event, advance the world state. No, let's say describe the state change in detail. Um, Detail what has changed in the world state. I wonder if that will be good. Okay, so, and then let's also change the name of that because we need to kind of go ahead and fix this. So it'll be event change, and then we'll call this state. And that'll say no, we'll leave that. Um, so the reason I'm doing that now is because you want to keep everything nice and consistent. So because we've got event, change, and state, right? We've got those three things, and so we'll true up. So we've got event, change, and state. See, that's the names that I gave it. So we'll make sure that we've got them in the same here. Event, change, and state, and then we also got to change this. So change and state. Actually, let me go ahead and do a git status, git add, git commit am, stashing work in case I break it bad. Git push. I know you're not supposed to use git. Well, I guess git is version control. So I had something that's working. So now it's time to experiment. Okay, so we got the event. This seems like it's okay. Sometimes it gets a little bit long, but that's okay. So world state, state change, and then we say, so then we'll instead of this, we'll say state change. So we'll change the name of that, and then we'll say write a new world state incomplete in the same no. Describe the new world state completely. And so then we'll say new world state. And actually, we can probably just call this like change, because I don't want to confuse it because I want to say like world state and new world state. And if I do state change, that might confuse it because it's like, oh, because you notice sometimes it was describing the same thing twice, where like the event and then the change would be nearly identical. So we don't want that. Okay, write a new world state. Describe the new world state completely. And this would absolutely benefit from fine tuning. So I might do that offline and then do another video showing like fine tuning a world simulator. Okay, let's test this. I think this is good enough. Python test. Make sure I didn't break anything. The men get into another fist fight. They're ordered to stay away from each other. It looks like it's doing the same damn thing. Oh. Okay. I wonder if it's kind of stuck in a loop because I made it too concise. So here's what I'll do. We'll do a folder, call it backup. And we'll go here and we'll just take everything after that long one and we'll move it over to backup. So now we'll start with a larger world state so that we can see what it does if it's got more detail. Because what I think is happening is that it doesn't have enough write a detailed new world state, describe the new world state completely. Okay. So let's try this because I want it to actually like be generative, be very creative. Okay, event. There we go. Change. Okay, he talks to a young woman standing next to a young woman on the bench. Okay. It seems like it's still kind of becoming more and more concise. Okay. That's not how I want you to behave. Let's come here and turn up the temperature. Because I'm wondering if the low temperature is causing it to kind of like just, I don't know, give me just a little bit. Um, so the event, state change. Let's see. Given the following action event, describe. Actually, no. Let's describe the impact. Um, describe the impact in detail. Write a thorough explanation of what has changed in the world. And then we'll just take that and call it change. This is a text-based simulation. This is a text-based simulation. Oh, let's add that back in. I wonder if this helps. This is a text-based simulation, right? In detailed world state. Let's see. This might be too short. Given the world state, event, and change, let's see. Simulate a new world. Let's see. Simulate a new world. Actually, no. We'll say describe the new world state in great detail. Let's see. Describe the new world state in great detail, and then, well, that's fine. We changed quite a bit. Okay, so we've got state event change, world state event change, new world state. So let's try that. CLS. The woman returns to the bench and sits next to the man. Since the woman, oh, there we go. It seems the two of them have reconciled. This is a change from the previous world state. Oh, good, good, good. Sitting next to the man looks happy to have her near him. The woman and the man smile and hold hands. Okay, that was quick. This world state is still not quite loving embrace. Okay, it's just assuming that they were lovers or something. This is starting to look a little bit more like this is starting to look a little bit more like dungeon. What is it? AI dungeon. So it's just confabulating stuff and it's not keeping track of stuff. They share a long passion. Okay, this is getting a little R-rated. Um, hmm. So this world state is not keeping track enough of what was going on in the past. Yeah, because if we look at the state, like it's describing it too succinctly. Um, it's almost like I still need to. It's almost like we need to kind of keep something. Well, no, because this prompt state should merge everything together. Um, retain relevant details from the original world state, um, such that the new world state um, still makes sense and contains necessary context. Oh, let's try that. And we'll go in here and delete the steamy romance scene. And do a quick time check as well. 24 minutes. All right, we'll call it soon but you get the idea. All right, things quickly escalate. They start to yell and the situation becomes heated. That's good. The sun is shining. Yep. Change. The two men are still sitting at the stone table. They're no longer, one of them is knocked over the board. Now arguing and yelling. They get into a physical altercation, start punching and slapping each other, they continue to fight. And a brutal fist fight, slamming other into the concrete. Wow, this escalated quickly. Um, Chest heaving, rage still in his eyes. Knocked unconscious in a brutal fist fight. Okay, so the state looks a little better. A police officer runs over and restrains the victor, reading him his Miranda rights. That's good. Okay. Now, because I need to make sure, I think this is good enough for now, but there's one thing I feel like the current state, it's losing the context. So I feel like I probably still need to do something about summarizing everything that has happened up until this point and keeping that in context. Taken away in an ambulance, the chessboard is ruined. Still, it's definitely keeping kind of a somewhat coherent story going. All right, I'll call that a day. This is a mild success, and thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Also, I think I'm going to do my first live stream tonight. I'm just at almost at 1,000 subscribers, so I'll do a live stream, and I'll try that as a new format for the podcast. So again, thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and consider supporting me on Patreon.